This is the brainstem. So here you can see that on the brainstem, the uppermost part it is having two cerebral peduncles. These are the cerebral peduncles. This is the midbrain. This is the widest middle part, that is known as Pons, and this is the lowermost part, that is known as Medulla oblongata. Now here these two diverging peduncles will connect with the cerebral hemisphere, and on the posterior surface there are rounded elevations which are not distinctly seen in this specimen, but these elevations here are known as colliculi, superior and inferior colliculi. Below this colliculus there is a nerve, that is trochlear nerve, but here this is the cerebral peduncles. Below this cerebral peduncle, here you see the Pons. Pons is the widest and middle part. Here you see this is a basilar sulcus. This is in the midline. There is a basilar sulcus which is occupied by the basilar artery. Below this, you can see the medulla oblongata. You can see that the fibers from the Pons are going to cerebellum and form the bundle, which bundle is known as middle cerebellar peduncle. This is a middle cerebellar peduncle. So this is cerebellum. So the fibers from Pons to the cerebellum is middle cerebellar peduncle. Similar fibers are from midbrain to cerebellum, superior, and same fibers from medulla oblongata to cerebellum is known as inferior cerebellar peduncle. But middle is distinctly seen in this specimen. Here you see the anterior surface of the medulla oblongata, where you can see that this is the anterior median fissure. On each side of anterior median fissure, as you can see, this is the pyramid. On each side of pyramid there is an oval shaped swelling, that is known as olive. This is the olive. So pyramid and olive are the important features on the anterior surface of medulla oblongata. The nerves emerging here is 6th, here is 7th and 8th. Here is 9, 10 and 11, and between pyramid and olive we have here a 12th cranial nerve. So these are the nerves emerging from the medulla oblongata. Here in the Pons we have a 5th cranial nerve. Here we have oculomotor nerve. And if we see the posterior surface, on the posterior surface, as you can see here, this is the 4th ventricle. You can see this is the 4th ventricle, and in the 4th ventricle you see these triangles. This is vagal and hypoglossal triangles in the floor of 4th ventricle. This region is floor of the 4th ventricle, diamond shaped area. In upper part we find facial colliculus, and in the lower part we find the triangles. So this is the triangles. This is vagal and hypoglossal triangles. So these are the triangles on the posterior surface. These are the Gracile and Cuneate tubercles. So this is the posterior surface of the brainstem in this specimen. So here you can see again a brainstem on inferior surface. Here you see the cerebral peduncles. Between cerebral peduncles we find here the part of the hypothalamus. This is mammillary bodies. You can see these rounded elevations. They are known as mammillary bodies. This is the cerebral peduncles. This is again the Pons with the basilar sulcus. Here you can see the medulla oblongata with pyramid and the olive. So these are the parts which are seen on the inferior surface of the brain, the parts of the brainstem. Here you can find two cerebellar hemispheres.